What's up, everybody? I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. My name's Anthony, and on today's video I'm excited to show y'all my 3-day hunt that resulted in the biggest buck I have ever taken off my property. Stay tuned. Alright, so like I said in the intro, this is going to be a hunting video. So if you do not like hunting, if you love animals more than you love yourself, if you are a PETA member or anything of the sort, do not watch this video. You're going to see stuff you don't like. So let's just save ourselves the heartache. And if you don't want to watch any of this stuff, move on. I'll catch you in the next video. Alright, now for the rest of y'all who actually do want to see this video. This is, like I said in the intro, a 3-day hunt, alright? This is the middle of October in the state of South Carolina. Down here right now, we are in the middle of rut. For those of you in the non-hunting community, rut is basically when deer start mating. Time to reproduce, all right? The does start getting real hot, they go into heat, and the bucks just care only about one thing, and that is going to be, you know what I mean. So that is the time of year that it is right now. This is also a very good time to hunt because that means when they're so focused on reproducing, they're not focused on that hunter that may be sitting in the stand or the blind. They're not thinking straight. So they might make a few mistakes, and it might be a really good chance for you to, capitalize on said mistakes. So let me be completely frank. The entire purpose of this video is to show you my decision-making process on why I did what I did and how I became successful. Because let's be honest here, the first day, the only thing I saw, you'll see it, was one tiny doe. The rest of the time I heard them. So I had to figure out a way to get them into the open area that I wanted to, and that's where I had to call an audible, all right? So through the course of these 3 days, you're gonna see how I changed things up a bit to get them to go where I wanted them to. That way I could be as successful as I was. Okay, so day one, the temps were right around 78 degrees when I walked out to the stand at about 4:30 in the afternoon. Now the sun goes down right around 7 at this time of day, or this time of year. So I was out in the stand for probably an hour and a half before I saw anything move. And that's the way I like it because I don't want them to see where I'm climbing into, all right? But the unfortunate side effect was it was very, very windy because a cold front was moving in that day. That's why I wanted to sit in the stand, because when it gets cold, when you get that cold front, they start moving a lot, not to mention it is rut. So that's why I went in the stand. Check it out. All right, I'm walking out of the stand first time this year with a rifle. So we will see if I see anything. What's up, everybody? I'm up in the tree. It's still about 4:30 in the afternoon. The sun doesn't go down all the way until about 7, so I still got a little while before they're probably going to start moving, but I'm out here early so they don't see me getting up in the stand. The drawback is it's pretty windy today. Luckily it's in my face, but it's making the tree behind me sway, as you can see by that one right there. It's swaying, so I'm swaying, and hopefully I don't get seasick, but I'm hoping I can find something. Buck will walk out, big buck, because I could definitely use that this year for sure. I really hope a tree branch doesn't fall on me, because this is kind of crazy. Or the tree that I'm sitting up against doesn't break, because I'm moving a lot. But wish me luck. As you can see, I was sitting there swaying back and forth pretty good, and the wind was whipping. It was a lot in my face, but it was also starting to do this little twirl effect, which ended up coming back to bite me later on, because after I saw that small one, when it was right around those twilight hours to where you really can't see anything anymore, a doe stepped out. Now, I wasn't going to take a doe, not this early in rut. I wanted to kind of have her bring in a buck for me, but I didn't want her to see where I was. And I had to wait 20-30 minutes after it was completely dark to climb down, because I didn't want her to see where I was. But regardless, she still smelled me because the wind was doing this little whipping action right here. She's very smart. She walked in the open, She came back out and she kind of flanked me to the point where she was about 10 feet under my stand. Doesn't matter what kind of spray you're putting on yourself, scent blocker, whatever, when they're that close and the wind's doing this little action right here, they're probably going to smell you, and that's exactly what happened. She took off running so I could finally climb down. Now, the start of day 2, I really didn't change my game plan up. I still went out there the exact same time, and I did the almost exact same thing I did the day before, except this time, I didn't see anything, but I heard them. They were across the creek, and they were being chased. Okay, there was doe and there was definitely bucks because I heard a buck scraping and then one chasing. Hopefully you can hear it in this clip. He's scraping. Buck's chasing a doe. So yeah, you hear that stuff, and obviously I didn't catch it on camera, but right as again that twilight time, I seen one dart across, but nothing was chasing after her. So that's when I decided I need to change up my game plan and call that audible. Okay, so the start of day 3, this is when I decided to change my whole plan up, all right? I went and I got a bag of corn, something I don't usually like to do, but stay with me, you'll hear my reasoning. I went back down to my shooting area, my shooting lane, and I cut down one sweet gum sapling. Okay, I cut it down just like this. You'll see it in the video. I cut the sapling down, and I also cut down one of the little branches that was blocking my one side where all the deer seemed to keep coming from. That way I could have a little bit more expanded viewpoint. Now, what I ended up doing, aside from cutting down that sweet gum, the reason why I did it is because I know that deer like eating the leaves. For those of you who don't know, deer they're browsers. They'll eat anything. They like eating briars, those vines, and leaves, all right? Low-hanging leaves. That's why if you have any fruit trees, that's why they go after them. So I said I'm going to cut down the sapling because maybe they'll eat some of the leaves. I also took a bag of corn. Now, I was only going to put down half the bag, but when I put the bag down like this, the whole thing busted at the bottom and all the corn came out in one big stupid pile. So I was like, well, whatever. I guess I'm stuck with a big giant pile here. And I threw out 3 apples just for good measure. So, cut down a sweet gum, big giant pile of corn, and 3 apples. All right? I put all that stuff there to get the doe to stop. Because what I had seen the 2 days prior was they were moving around and they were darting through. They weren't stopping long enough for the bucks to come in after them. So my whole thought process was, hey, if I put a big giant bag of corn out here, put down some browsing for them, maybe the apples, it'll get the doe to come in here and stop. And as the doe stop, as they're spraying their scent everywhere, a buck will come in. That was my entire plan. So I don't shoot doe eating corn. I'm not that kind of person. I would hate if someone shot me while I was eating. So that's not what I was going for. But one piece I wanted to add here is it is October. The acorns are already falling. Deer would much rather prefer acorns over corn. So if you put out corn right now, there's a really good chance they're going to completely bypass it in the first place. So by putting a bag of corn out there, I wasn't thinking, oh, they're definitely going to go to it like they would in August. No, 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 no. I was hoping they would be like, you know what, it's here, I might as well stop. Because again, deer would much rather eat acorns versus your corn. All right, so that was basically a Hail Mary play for me in hoping that would make them stop. And guess what? It paid off dramatically, okay? I cannot tell you how wonderfully it paid off. And I want to show you all the footage I got before I took my shot. As you can see, I didn't get all of them on camera, but I let 4 doe walk. 1 cow horn, who had little horns that looked like a cow, and 1 button buck. When I say button buck, his horns were just about to come out of his head, all right? I almost shot the cow horn. I said, you know, I need to put some meat in the freezer. I should probably shoot him, but I didn't, because the entire time I had a gut feeling because it was cooler outside. The first 2 days it was in the 70s when I walked out. That day, it was high 60s. So it was already a little bit cooler, and the night before was at 40 degrees. So it was that perfect time for everything to kind of go my way. Well, what I ended up doing was let all of them go. And as it started to get really twilighty, to the point where when I tried to film with this camera, it said, please remove lens cap, because it was so dark. Keep in mind, when I say it's dark, it's still legal hunting time, because in my state of South Carolina, you can hunt 1 hour before initial sunrise and 1 hour after official sunset, all right? And the sun set on that day at what? 1844 or 6:44 in the evening. So technically you can hunt until 7:44 or 1944 in the evening. Now, when it's about 1900 or 7 o'clock, you don't really see much, hardly at all, down in this gully. So I don't like to shoot unless I can absolutely identify what I'm aiming at or what I'm seeing, because I don't want to shoot a buck or a small buck or a doe if I don't absolutely have to. So it was right in that twilight period between 7 and 7:15 where I almost couldn't see anymore. And sure enough, another doe walks out, but she gets kind of spooked. But she doesn't get spooked by me, because I thought she almost smelled me. But no, she starts getting this little playful jump. All right? She did a little playful jump, knowing, because I've seen it before, she probably had a buck chasing after her. So sure enough, I let her walk, do her little dancey coy thing, and out steps a monster. Now, I didn't see how many he actually had. I was hoping that it was probably the 6-pointer that I had caught on camera months ago. But I wanted to take the shot. So again, you're not going to see the actual shot here because it was too dark for the camera to register, but you will see the tracking, okay? This is where you will start seeing blood and a dead animal. So again, if you are one of those people who's anti-hunting or squeamish, don't watch anymore. For those of you who actually do want to see this, this is very important, following a blood trail, continue watching. I just shot a buck. I couldn't tell how many he was, but he was at least a 6-pointer. I let about 6 doe go. Well, 4 doe, a button buck, and a cow horn. And a doe ran off. And I knew that when she ran off, a buck was behind her. And sure enough, I was right. He comes strolling up because she's been pissing all over the place. He smelled who's going after her. So, I just did it. I would have filmed it, but it's too dark to get down there. I barely caught him on the scope. But I'm going to give it about 5 to 10 minutes before I walk down, just in case something else steps out. I don't want him to see where I'm hiding. I heard him crash across the creek. Of course it goes across the creek. Oh, I'm so happy, you have no idea. Alright, here's where I hit him. Looks like I got a pretty good blood trail. Here. Here. Oh yeah, he's bleeding good. So, I'm sorry if I'm making you sick by walking, but I want you to see him when I see him. Oh man, he is hit real good. Okay. Down there. Another one. Yep. Oh yeah, he stopped. Trying to decide what he wanted to do. Over here. There he is. Got him. He didn't go over the creek. He came over the side. this. Alrighty. Oh, hell yeah. He's an 8-pointer. I knew I seen a big boy. I've caught him on cam before, but look at that shot. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you so much for blessing my family with food. Thank you so much. All right, well, let me tag him and drag him all the way up this big giant hill. Thank God I got handles right there. Thank you, Lord. So as you can see, I was extremely successful. I was very much blessed. I've never gotten an 8-pointer off my property. I haven't even seen him on cam. The most I usually see on the camera is a 6-point, and I caught a 10-point 2 years ago, and I never saw him again. But he was a big boy. When I say big boy, for the state of South Carolina, he was pretty big. He was already kind of skinny from chasing after the doe for the last week and some change. Not eating very well, but he still was big enough to the point where he was about $140 on the scale before the field dress. So that was one of the things I was just super happy to get on camera, the tracking aspect, because again, that's very important, and that's why if you are going to be hunting anything, you want to make sure you use a caliber big enough, if you're shooting a rifle or shotgun, big enough to leave a blood trail so you can find your deer, because there's nothing more gut-wrenching than knowing you killed a deer but not being able to find it. So that's why I wanted to put this on camera. I wanted to show everybody, all my friends around the country, all my friends who absolutely love the idea of hunting, who have may not been or are trying to get into it. I want to show you my thought process and what I was actually doing to make this successful. Oh, and let me just go ahead and show you the, albeit improvised, you have to take a picture with your kill. Let me show you that picture. All right, so there you have it. That is the hunt that got me the biggest buck I have ever pulled off my property. I hope if you are a novice hunter, someone who hasn't done too much or maybe hunting for the first time in the Southeast, you take some of these things that I may have done and put them in your back pocket so you can at least understand why it is important to not shoot the first thing you see and to let certain things go, and some of the ways that you can get them to stop where you want them to stop. All right, that's the purpose of the video. Not the purpose. It's not the purpose to show you, hey, look at this cool thing I just did, which I mean kind of is, but the whole purpose actually is for me to show you the things I did to get to that point. All right, if you remember, like 2 months ago, I'll put the video up here, I did a scouting so I could see where to set up my stand. You have to know, you have to do your homework. You can't just walk out in the woods and sit in a tree and hope things happen for you. You got to do a lot of the homework. You got to do a lot of the legwork, all right, to be successful. All right, so that's what I wanted to get through this video. Did my homework, knew what I was talking about, knew the trends I needed to pay attention to, and I let the right amount go, and I got lucky enough to where one came out and I was able to put a whole bunch of meat into the freezer. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please do me a humongous favor and give me that thumbs up. It really does help me out. Subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later, okay?